Good morning, everyone. My name is Rosanna Urulo, and I'm a program specialist from TCSG's Office of Workforce Development. I'm excited to be with you today as we dive into the topic of writing effective documentation and case notes. Now, I know what you're thinking. Excited for case notes? But stick with me. This session is all about turning what can sometimes feel like a chore into a purposeful skill and an everyday task that you can master. We'll cover things that you already know, but with a fresh twist, share some best practices for getting the best results, and sprinkle in a few time saving tips and tricks to help you shine in your case management and customer service. Let's make documentation less daunting and a whole lot more doable. Let's get started. So let's take a look at what we will be covering. We're going to break down exactly what makes a case note effective, because let's be honest, not all case notes are created equal. You will learn what a well-structured case note looks like, the key ingredients that make it clear and useful, and how to write them with confidence. We'll also explore the legal side of things and talk about the real-world impact of what we put in our notes. Plus, we will take a look at how to use the AI feature in the WorkSource Georgia portal to make your documentation process easier and smarter. And of course, we'll wrap it all up with some tried and true best practices to help make your case note process smoother, faster, and more effective. So let's begin and level up your documentation game. So what is a case note? And why does it matter so much? Great question. At its core, a case note is a formal record of your interaction with a participant or a summary of an activity that they're involved in. It should be detailed enough to clearly explain what happened, but also concise enough to be quickly understood. Think clear, purposeful, and to the point. When you look at a participant's case file as a whole, the case notes should come together to tell a complete story of their journey, their employment and training goals, the steps that they've taken, progress that they've made, and any challenges that they faced along the way. Case notes are more than just checkboxes. They're storytelling with a purpose. Also, where there are multiple staff members working on a file, they help other staff quickly get up to speed, ensure everyone's on the same page, and support consistent, high-quality service delivery. In other words, they're the key to keeping things running smoothly. And here's the big one. Case notes are legal and ethical records. They're not just helpful, they're required. Accurate documentation is essential for meeting program standards and protecting both you and your participants. So while case notes may not seem exciting at first glance, they're one of the most powerful tools that we have to support our participants and keep our work aligned, accountable, and impactful. Case notes as a roadmap of the participant's journey. They provide a clear and organized view of where someone started, where they're headed, and what's happened along the way in their WorkSource development experience. Solid documentation ensures that anyone reviewing the file, whether it's you, a colleague, or a program monitor, can easily follow the participant's progress and understand their needs. Let's relate this to a real-life example. Let's say you're on vacation or you've called in sick. Your participant shows up ready to take the next steps, but you're not there. If you've left a clear, concise case note, a team member can read it, understand what was done, what was asked of the participant, and what needs to happen next. No confusion, no delay. For example, yesterday you asked a participant to bring in their eligibility documentation. Today they show up with it, but you're out. Thanks to your case note, a colleague can step in, pick up right where you left off, and keep the process moving forward smoothly. That's seamless service, and it shows the participant that the team is consistent and reliable. It's also your best defense. Case notes are real-time documentation of key conversations and activities. If that same participant came in and claimed, "I wasn't told to bring that," your case notes can clearly clarify what was said and when. That protects you, helps avoid any unnecessary misunderstanding, and maintains high standards of customer service. So while it just may seem like paperwork, effective documentation is actually one of the most powerful tools that we have to support our participants and each other. It ensures accountability, continuity, and trust, three essentials in great case management. Writing structured case notes. Case notes tell a story, so make it a good one. Just like a great story or even a good joke, your case notes should have a clear beginning, middle, and end. That's the secret to making them easy to read, understand, and follow, especially for someone who was not part of the original conversation. Think about a time when someone told you a story that just didn't make sense, or even a joke that totally fell flat. Chances are it wasn't the content, it was the delivery. Maybe it was out of order or missing important details, or just plain confusing. Case notes are no different. A strong case note follows a logical sequence and includes all the right elements. For reference, we can use the what, so what, and now what approach. Let's look at how to structure it. The beginning. Start with what the participant wants. Why are they there? What are their concerns? What are they reporting? And what services are they requesting? This sets the stage and gives context to the interaction. The middle. The so what. This is where the meat of the note lives. Include an objective summary of what happened during the interaction. What was said, what actions were taken, and what services or support were provided. If you need to include subjective observations, like how the participant appeared or their mood, be clear that it's a personal observation. For example, participant appeared frustrated. That's a subjective observation. We'll dive deeper into how to handle this appropriately in an upcoming slide. Lastly, the ending, the now what. Wrap it up with the next steps. What follow-up actions were discussed? Are there deadlines, recommendations, or scheduled check-ins? This helps anyone reading the note to know exactly where things are headed. Sticking to the simple structure not only helps make your note easier to read, it also ensures that you're including the right information every time. It keeps your documentation consistent, professional, and most importantly, useful to anyone who needs it. Because in the end, a well-told story helps everyone stay on the same page. Literally. Let's take a deeper dive into the beginning of a case note. In this slide, we're focusing on the introductory section, or the beginning of the case note. As we've discussed, the beginning should clearly state the purpose of the contact. In this example, the interaction was a career coaching session focused on training and job readiness. To build on that, the note also includes a summary of the contact, which provides helpful context about the participant's current situation. In this example, we learned that the participant has completed their resume, they are actively seeking work in the healthcare field, and they've identified transportation as a barrier. These details give us a solid foundation to build on in the rest of the case note. This beginning does exactly what it should. It introduces the who, what, and why of the interaction, while also surfacing key factors that will influence how we support the participant moving forward. Remember, this part sets the tone for the entire note. A clear, informative start makes it easy for anyone reading it to understand the participant's needs right away. Now let's dig into the middle. This part of the case note is the heart of the case note, the so what, or what happened during the interaction. In this slide, you'll see a clear summary of the services provided during the session. This is where we capture the real action. In this example, you see the case manager offered job search assistance. The participant's IEP was updated to include career counseling. The participant's progress in her job search was also documented. This section gives us a snapshot of how the participant is moving forward and what support was delivered during the session. It also shows the services are being tracked and goals are being updated in real time, key to both program compliance and effective case management. Pro tip: always aim for clear, factual language here. Stay objective and save any personal observations for properly labeled subjective notes. This keeps the case note professional, actionable, and useful to anyone reading it. And finally, now what? The ending, wrapping it all up. We've reached the conclusion of the case note, where everything comes together. This final section should summarize the next steps and may also include important observations from the case manager. In this example on the slide, here's what we see. The participant is expected to follow up in 1 week with an update on their job search progress. The case manager will provide a list of local employers and plans to check in via phone by June 12th. What's especially important here? Dates. Clearly defined timeframes help everyone stay on track. They support effective follow-up and case planning. They create continuity for the next case note and reinforce accountability for both the participant and the case manager. This section also includes observations made by the case manager. While it's okay to document those, it's important they're presented appropriately. which means identifying them clearly as subjective information. Again, we'll go over how to do that properly in an upcoming slide. In short, the ending of your case note should leave no questions about what's next. It should close the loop on current interactions and set the stage for the next one, keeping the story going in a clear and organized way. Another important point about telling the story is telling the full story and connecting the dots through capturing the data. A participant's case file often includes a wide variety of documents, from applications and assessments to training records, resumes, and pay stubs. These pieces show what the participant has done, but on their own, they don't tell the full story. That's where case notes come in. Case notes are the connecting thread that weaves all these documents together into a clear, cohesive narrative of the participant's journey, from the WIOA application all the way to their final employment outcome. They're also a powerful tool for capturing data, both qualitative and quantitative. Quantitative data might include dates, test scores, hours completed, or training costs. Case notes help bring meaning to the context of these numbers. Qualitative data includes insights into employment and training progress, job search efforts, and any barriers that participant is facing. By documenting both the facts and the context, your case notes provide a more complete, human-centered picture of the participant's experience. This not only helps with continuity of service and compliance, but also ensures that each person's journey is fully understood and supported every step of the way. All right, now that we've talked about structured case notes, basically your go-to template for writing solid, effective notes, let's dive into what makes a great case note. Think of these as your essential ingredients in your toolkit. First, keep it clear and concise. Your notes should be easy to understand, straight to the point, and free of anything extra. That means cutting out the personal opinions or unnecessary details. Just the facts. That's all that matters. Next, aim for objectivity. This is all about sticking to what actually happened. No guesses, no assumptions, and definitely no judgments. Just document the interaction as it occurred. Timing is also key. The sooner you write your notes after the interaction, the better. This helps ensure accuracy and reduces the chances of forgetting important details or mixing things up later. And finally, don't forget about the legal and ethical sides. Your notes need to respect confidentiality and follow professional guidelines to protect both you and the participant. Now let's take a closer look at each of these ingredients and see how they come together to create top quality case notes. Have you heard of the KISS rule, K-I-S-S? It stands for keep it short and sweet. And that's exactly what we mean when we talk about using clear and concise language in your case notes. When writing, aim to keep things brief but meaningful. Include only relevant details, enough to give a full picture without overloading the note with extra fluff. Filler content not only clutters your writing, but it also blurs the overall purpose or focus of the note. Use plain, everyday language to steer clear of jargon and trendy buzzwords. For example, instead of saying upskilling, you might say gain new skills. The goal is to make your notes easy for anyone to understand, whether they're reading them today or months from now. Also, be specific. Avoid vague or incomplete statements that leave the reader guessing. Phrases like advise client. About what? Client will follow up. On what? Or provided resources. What kind? These phrases all need a little more detail to be truly helpful. So yes, we want to keep it short and sweet, but don't forget, clarity and completeness go hand in hand. It's all about striking the right balance. When writing a case note, objectivity is key. This means sticking to the facts and documenting only what you observed or what was stated, not what you think might be true or how you personally feel about the situation. Case notes should be written in third person or in professional first person when describing observed behavior. For instance, instead of saying the person is very driven, you might write the participant appears motivated. That little word appears signals that this is an observation, not a judgment. It allows you to describe what seems likely based on your interaction while keeping your note professional and objective. Other helpful phrases that support objectivity include it was observed that, participant reported feeling, demonstrated behaviors consistent with. Also, be sure to use neutral professional language throughout. Steer clear of emotionally charged and overly personal language. Your goal is to record the interaction in a calm, factual, and respectful tone. Remember, good case notes don't tell a story from your point of view. They capture the facts so that anyone reading them later understands exactly what happened. Timely. Why it matters. When it comes to writing case notes, timing is everything. Ideally, notes should be documented immediately after the interaction, or at the very least within 24 hours. Have you ever opened the refrigerator and forgot why you opened it? Or walk over to your colleague's office and forget what you wanted to ask them? Our memory is not perfect. For this reason, the closer you are to the moment of contact, the more accurate and complete your notes will be. Research backs this up. A medical study referenced by Citrus Health found that documentation accuracy drops to 63% when notes were written just only 4 hours after a patient visit. The longer you wait, the more you rely on memory, which can lead to gaps, inaccuracies, or missed details. Documenting promptly also helps to keep the participant's file up to date in real time. This is especially important in case management, where a lot may change in 24 hours, and also where multiple professionals may be involved. When your notes are current, it's easier for others to step in and understand where things stand without missing a beat. Case notes should also include key details, including date and time of contact, type of contact, whether it's an email, phone, or in person, and time of day. This can be helpful in spotting communication patterns. For example, you might notice a participant responds more consistently to email than phone calls, or that it's easier to reach them in the afternoon rather than first thing in the morning. These insights can help guide your outreach strategy. Luckily, the WorkSource Georgia portal automatically timestamps each case note, but it's still up to the case manager to input the contact method. Be sure to fill that in. Every detail counts when delivering timely, effective support. Confidentiality and sensitivity, protecting participant information. When documenting case notes, confidentiality and sensitivity are critical. Every detail you enter becomes part of the participant's official record, so it is essential to get it right and respect boundaries. Start with accuracy. Double check that names, barriers, training institutions, certifications, reimbursements, employers, and job types are all correctly documented. Even small errors can create confusion, misrepresent a participant's history, or undermine the integrity of the file. Just as important is knowing what not to include. Avoid entering any medical details, diagnosis, or any personal information that's unrelated to WIOA services. Including sensitive or irrelevant information not only breaches confidentiality, it also may violate policy and legal standards. When in doubt, ask yourself, is this information directly relevant to the participant's WIOA services or goals? Could this detail compromise their privacy if shared or misinterpreted? To ensure that you're following best practices, please review Policy 3.2.1. Let's take a closer look at legal impact of case notes and why accuracy matters. Case notes aren't just a tool for tracking services. They are official documentation that can carry legal and compliance implications. During audits or monitoring, incomplete or untimely case notes can lead to findings, observations, or technical corrections. Under WIOA regulations, accurate tracking and reporting are mandatory. When services aren't documented, it can seem as a violation of the federal record-keeping requirements. Even unintentional errors or omissions may carry serious consequences. Inaccurate, falsified case notes, even when done without malicious intent, can be viewed as fraudulent. And because case notes are part of the participant's official record, they can be used in dispute resolutions or investigations. Now that we've covered how to write effective case notes, let's talk about how to do it more effectively with a little help from AI. AI, or artificial intelligence, refers to the computer-based system that performs tasks typically requiring human intelligence. In the world of case management, using AI to assist with case notes can be a huge time saver, freeing you up to focus on other tasks and priorities. And really, who wouldn't want a little bit more time back in their day? One of the major benefits of using AI is the ability to reduce human error. AI generated drafts can help you stay organized, consistent, especially when you're managing multiple participants. That said, it's important to remember AI is a tool and not a replacement. Always review the content it produces to ensure it's accurate, objective, and aligned with your program standards. AI is great, but humans still hold the final say. Now that you know the benefits of using AI, let's walk through how to use AI Assist for case notes in the WorkSource Georgia portal. It's simple, fast, and can help streamline your documentation process. So step 1, start like any other case note. Enter the participant's SID number and select their profile. Then navigate to the Case Notes tab and click Add New Case Note. Step 2, enter a relevant subject line. Add a subject line that clearly reflects the purpose of the note. For example, employment. This helps the AI understand the general topic and generate context that aligns with it. Step 3, add key details in the note section. Here's where you enter a summary or a list of important details. Continuing with the example of employment, I may opt to include the company name, salary, position title, hours of work, and maybe start date. Don't worry about writing in full sentences. Short statements or bullet points are fine. The AI will take the information and transform it into a clear professional case note. Last step, click AI Assist. Once you select AI Assist and you've entered your initial information, the WorkSource Georgia portal gives you a few smart options to enhance your case note using AI. Let's begin with optimizing your existing case note. Given you have typed something out, select Optimize your existing case note, and the system will generate an improved text version based on what you've written. This is the preferred method because you are prompting the system with the information that you want noted. When you're happy with the generated content, click Insert into Case Note Details to apply the changes. Remember, it is really important to always review and edit the case note before saving it to ensure its accuracy and professionalism. Another option is to generate a new case note without prompts. So if you have not provided the system any details, you can also select Generate a New Personalized Case Note, and this will create a brand new case note without needing you to input anything first. Just a heads up, on this method, since there is no context provided, the accuracy may be lower, so it is even more important to review and revise the note as needed. Let's look at the preferred method, which is optimizing an existing case note. In this example, I have written some very basic information about some information I received with regards to my participant, Adrian, who seems to have gotten a job. Now, my notes are not in the least bit acceptable for a professional case note and more in line with something I would scribble down if I was recording some information on the phone. Nonetheless, it has the critical information I need, and I am going to select AI Assist followed by Optimize your existing case note to get more professionally written case notes in full sentences. And voila, my scribbles of jotted notes have magically turned into complete sentences with the information I provided. After reviewing it, if I'm satisfied with the case note, I will select Insert into Case Note Details. If I would like to further edit my case note, I will use the Export Response feature, which will take me to another screen where I will have the option to download the text into a PDF or Word document to continue to edit it further. So far, we've covered the structure of a case note, the key ingredients for writing an effective one, and how to use AI to streamline the process. Now let's take a moment to highlight a few best practices that will help keep your documentation sharp, consistent, and efficient. Firstly, stay organized with naming conventions. Case notes are an important part of the administrative side of our work. And like any admin task, organization matters. One easy way to stay organized is by using consistent naming conventions, whether it's for file names, case note titles, or internal documentation. A clear, uniform system helps keep records tidy and easy to navigate. It helps support team collaboration and ensures quick access to key information. Think of it as creating a filing system that speaks the same language across your organization. Another best practice is to start with an introductory case note. Your first case note should always serve as an introductory note. This sets the tone for the participant's journey and acts as a foundation for future documentation. Your intro case note should include a summary of the participant's background or eligibility, serve and support their requesting or may need, and any initial goals or next steps. This practice is especially helpful when using AI tools, as it provides the system with context to generate more relevant and cohesive follow-up notes. The last best practice we will cover is implementing a system that will allow for monthly or quarterly review. Consistency is key in case management. Regularly documenting participant progress not only shows continuity of service, but also prevents gaps in service delivery, helps track barriers and achievements more efficiently, and makes it easier to pick up where someone else left off if needed. Even if there's no major update, a quick check-in note keeps the case file active and reflects ongoing engagement and maintains good rapport with the participant and minimizes future lost contact. Let's review naming conventions. As mentioned earlier, having a standardized system for naming documents isn't just a nice to have, it's a best practice that promotes consistency, clarity, and efficiency across your organization. When all case managers follow the same naming protocol, it creates a uniform experience for participants. It makes it easier for staff to locate documents based on their titles, and it simplifies monitoring and audits, allowing for quicker demonstration of compliance. In a digital environment like the WorkSource Georgia portal, a thoughtful naming system helps avoid time-consuming searches through files with vague titles, or worse, through unnamed or mislabeled documents. Let's review some tips for effective naming conventions with a few helpful best practices to keep in mind when creating your labeling system. Use underscores instead of spaces. Underscores improve readability and are universally compatible across systems. Avoid special characters like the @ symbol or the and symbol. This can cause issues with some software or databases. Stick to letters, numbers, and underscores. Include dates. This is critical for tracking document history. This is particularly helpful for documents like resumes that typically evolve over time. Having dates will help you distinguish between versions and ensure you are referencing the most recent file. And stay consistent. Use the same naming format for all participants, whether they're adults, dislocated worker, or youth. A unified system makes documentation easier to manage and more efficient to maintain. Another powerful best practice in case noting is creating an introductory or foundational case note. This note sets the stage for the participant's journey and helps ensure your documentation is complete, purposeful, and forward-focused from the very beginning. A strong foundational case note does more than just login interaction. It introduces the who, what, where, and when of the participant's story and helps guide the next steps. Why it matters? It creates a clear chronological narrative of the participant's progress, reinforces accountability, and consistency in service delivery. It makes it easier for others to step in, for example, during handoffs or staff transitions. It strengthens documentation for audits, monitoring, and compliance, and serves as a reference point for future notes, especially when using AI-generated case notes. So what exactly do we include in a foundational case note? The who the participant is. Briefly introduce the participant, including relevant background, example, new registrant, recently unemployed, youth seeking training, etc. And what they are seeking. Outline the purpose of their engagement, such as job placement, training, or career exploration. The where are they in the process. Provide current status, such as accepted to CDL training or pending eligibility verification. The when activities are happening, including timelines such as training start dates, intake meetings, or follow-up appointments. And next steps. Document what's coming up next. This could be an immediate follow-up or a long-term plan, like completing training by December or begin job searching in January. This type of case note is especially helpful when using AI tools, as it gives the system strong context for generating consistent and accurate future notes. By treating the introductory case note as a participant's launch point, you create a structured and meaningful foundation that supports every interaction to follow. The final best practice we are going to review is establishing a documentation cadence. Beyond effective case noting, one of the most impactful best practices in case management is establishing a regular documentation cadence or communication schedule. This approach not only strengthens your documentation, but also enhances participant engagement and service delivery. Why cadence matters? It creates a consistent schedule for outreach and documentation. This helps maintain rapport with participants, track progress more effectively, stay ahead of emerging barriers, and reduce the risk of lost contact. By setting a rhythm for communication, whether bi-weekly, monthly, or quarterly, depending on the participant's needs and service stage, you're better positioned to offer timely support and demonstrate continuity of care. Of course, frequency depends on service stage, and the frequency of contact should align with the stage of services, whether it's intake, training, job placement, follow-up, etc. This will determine the participant's needs, responsiveness, and the progress to report on. In many cases, more contact occurs than is actually documented, which means the great work being done by the local areas isn't always fully reflected in the file. Accurate documentation helps showcase that effort. So document every attempt. Even if the participant doesn't respond, it's important to document missed appointments, unanswered calls, and even non-responsive emails or texts. These unsuccessful contacts still tell a valuable part of the participant's story. They offer insight into engagement patterns and allow others to pick up where you left off. Plus, it helps maintain compliance, especially during required follow-up, which must occur every 3 months post-employment under WIOA guidelines. Remember, if it's not documented, it did not happen. Even the smallest attempt matters, so log it all. It not only protects you and your program, but also paints a complete picture and an honest picture of the participant's journey. Remember, case notes do not have to be a daunting task. They are often regarded as such because it's so easy to say, I will do it later. However, if you make it part of your appointments or get it into a regular habit of scheduling time to complete them, not only will you never be behind, but it will never feel so annoying. Think of it as putting a staple on the corner of an application package. Just a small task that you do at the end to tie all the work together.